Shin angles matter because they're basically directly correlated to how you're applying force into the ground. For acceleration, our ideal goal is to go from a zero standstill to working up towards our top speed. Our shins, how our shins are positioned relative to a flat surface or just the ground in general, is going to directly correlate to the types of force vectors or the direction of force that we're applying into the ground. If we're trying to go forward and our shins are up, we're going to be going up rather than forward. If our shins are as close to parallel as we can make it with the ground, we're going to optimize and maximize our ability to go parallel or forward relative to the ground. And so in acceleration-based sprint training, you're basically going to want to do any type of drill, any type of exercise that's going to prioritize these types of joint angles. And so if you don't have access to a facility or training equipment, timing lights, loads, whatever, the probably best place to do any sort of acceleration-based training in order to try and attempt to replicate these angles is going to be finding an outdoor hill and sprinting up the hill. For myself, my next recommendation, depending on what type of athlete you are, what type of sport you play in, it's going to be trying to develop that sort of kinematic sensation of where you are in space and how you're able to produce force and run at those angles. And so with that in mind, I would say the next suggestion of mine would be not to do sled pushes, but sled pulls. I always really enjoyed doing very heavy sled pulls because it allowed myself to not rely on any sort of object in front of me to help position me in those acceleration angles, those projectile angles. And so over time, I had to try and get used to where my body would be relative to the ground, what that sort of sensation would feel like as if I was running without any sort of resistance behind me. And then as I got used to running at those angles with nothing in front of me but a whole bunch of load behind me, so it was putting me at a slightly slower speed but required me to be a lot more forceful. Over time, as I progressed in my sort of training plan, I could then lessen the load. To the point where now I'm essentially running just body weight, but I know the sensation of what sort of angles I should try and hit when it was just body weight versus when I was doing those heavy resisted sprints. But yeah, that's probably what I would recommend. Obviously, if you got any questions, you can always send me a DM. You can leave a comment on a video. If you want more specific access to me, or you want a more specific answer, or you want access to training routines, training programs, then make sure to join my online athletic performance community. That's basically going to be the main touch point to myself, but is also going to serve as my brain dump for all of the knowledge and experiences that I've gained over the last 10 plus years being involved in high performance athletics, working as a strength conditioning coach and working towards being a high level athlete. And until next time, peace. I'll see you guys later.